Hi, my dear Astro family. Today, here is a new video, and we are going to be discussing the Venus square Jupiter. Now, I really dabbled what aspect to pick this week, as we have quite a few interesting ones, such as Venus-Pluto conjunction, Venus-Mars conjunction. As you can see, Venus is making quite a few aspects this week, but I did pick Venus square Jupiter. And one of the reasons why I did that is because it's going to be exact on the Virgo full moon. And Jupiter is actually one of the dispositor of the triple conjunction that is also coming up at the end of the month. To be precise, it's going to be on the 28th of February. And the triple conjunction is going to be happening between Saturn, Mercury, and the Sun. So in this video, we're going to actually talk about Venus, Mars a little bit as well, focusing on Venus square Jupiter mainly, and very briefly, we're going to be talking about the triple conjunction as well. So I recommend staying till the very end. Now, if you wish to know about the aspects of each of the week, you might want to be checking out my membership on YouTube, and you will receive additional approximately about 10 videos a month with breakdown for each 12 signs, as well as some just weekly updates. And you can also get 2 webinars a month. So it's a good deal. Check that out. Also, I have noticed that 60% of my viewers are not signed up to my channel. So I would be very grateful if you did so, because it means that I can make more free content that might help your everyday life. And it's only just that notification button you have to press and a subscribe button. Now, I have a super good workshop also coming up, how to read your solar return chart. Now, this is a very popular workshop, actually. There are loads of people signed up so far, most probably because I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step guide how to read your own solar return chart, so you can be an expert of understanding your year ahead. Of course, you need to have some astrological knowledge here, such as signs, planets, houses, at least, and the aspects. You might want to be aware of those. But let's get started with this aspect. So it's going to be taking place on the 24th or the 25th of February, depending on where you are. Venus is on 10 degree of Aquarius, while Jupiter is on 10 degree of Taurus. One of the major questions that might comes up with this constellation is, what makes us happy? It's very much about, we want to have loads of pleasure, fun, indulgence, a little bit of a sweetness in our life. And not just a little bit, actually. Jupiter magnifies anything that it touches. So we want loads of it. Therefore, we might become a lot more adventurous, for example, when it comes to going out with our friends, because Venus is in the sign of Aquarius. We want to be spending time together with people. We are craving somehow for love. However, Venus in Aquarius would never show that though directly. So it's kind of like a little bit of a subtle feeling where I would like to be surrounded by people. I want to go out to a party. I want to have a good time with them. But maybe I'm not going to pick up the call and tell them that, listen, I badly need you. So there is a need here. I feel like with Mercury being on 29 degree as well, by the way, that clear communication might be very important about your own feelings as well. Typically with Venus and Jupiter, we want to go full in when it comes to your experiences. It's about togetherness, it's about sweetness, but watch out because you can also overdo it. So I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios how I see this Venus and Jupiter square. Maybe it's about trying to overshower someone with all your feelings, loves, and blessings overall, but it might come across very suffocating to the other person. Or Jupiter tends to be quite generous as well. So imagine that you are too generous. Let's say you take your friends out to a party and then you invite everyone for a couple of drinks. And then will they take advantage of you? Of course, Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus, so the financial aspect here is heightened. So how much money we are spending, is it worth spending it, or is it just my eyes that is really kind of attracted to that piece of item? So often what happens is that we are overcompensating because we badly want to feel what love actually is, and then we become oversharing. Maybe the other thing that might be coming up is to look at whether your friends are your friends really, because Venus is the planet of appreciation as well. And when it is in the sign of Aquarius, often the topic is whether you feel appreciated by others. Remember, it's a square. So with squares, we need to make adjustments. We need to work on realization. So we are invited to realize that we might be overdoing something in our life. And of course, the house position is going to tell you what you might be overdoing. Also, with the square element, maybe there is the need here to see where you feel undervalued somehow. I tend to say when Jupiter and Venus are in square, is the realization that love is not equal at all. And that's, by the way, my opinion as well. Because sometimes what happens is that, there is no way that two people can love each other in the same way, exactly on 50%. So someone is always going to love the other one a little bit more. But the question with this is that you would do anything to show your appreciation and love to others, but will they do the same to you when it's needed? When you are craving to get a bit of an attention. And that's something that you're going to have to examine with this aspect. There is that fairness side to it as well. But also, Venus and Jupiter is a great one to do a little bit of a traveling, for example, with your friends. The other question that might be coming up with this is that how much does it cost to be free? How much does it cost to be happy? Because Venus is craving to be free in the sign of Aquarius. And because it is making a conjunction to Mars as well, it might be an indication that I'm fighting for my freedom. So how much does it cost? Is it worth fighting for it? And you know what? Maybe this Jupiter is telling us that when you have got the belief in yourself, in your talent, Taurus, then it's worth it. How much do you want to spend on your relationship? So the financial aspect of a relationship could be magnified in the next 1 week as well, such as imagine that someone's birthday is coming up and then you feel like that you want to buy the love of them or love of theirs, and then you are overspending. So this is telling you with the square again, which is always an invitation to act on something. It is an invitation to not to overdo, the spending, overspending your money. But also this might be that you want to receive a gift from someone, and the gift is not always about, buying something at a nice shop. It could be something just like a nice gesture overall. Venus, on one hand, is surely about giving. So Jupiter is the planet of generosity. So maybe this is about trying to give something back to the community as well, showing appreciations that when you needed them, they were with you. Or maybe you want to be doing something to do with a charity cause. With even Mars, it could be a nice gesture as well, anyway, because it's about fighting for other people's equality and right as well. Also, it might be about wanting to be around people, spending time with your friends, the love of freedom, as I said, at what cost though? Or Venus might be talking to us about the popularity element of the chart as well. So it's very possible that with Venus Jupiter square, we would do anything to be more popular. And I tend to see that often we overstretch with this, and therefore it comes with a bit of exaggeration, a bit of lie as well, actually. We want to come across more than what we are. just to get that likability factor out of people. Also, this aspect might be inviting you to explore ways of making money. So it would be very important that you realize your own talent. Maybe you're just gonna have to be having that chit chat with your friends, with your supporters. Even Aquarius can represent your fans as well. And they might be able to give you feedback about what you're truly good at. Maybe it's something you don't see at the moment. Now, remember that we've got this full moon going on as well in the sign of Virgo, which is a tight T-square actually with Pallas Athene. And Pallas Athene is the planet of wisdom and the ability to see patterns in our life as well. So why am I talking about the full moon in Virgo? The reason why, because we've got quite a heavy element going on in Pisces. So we've got Mercury, Saturn, as well as the Sun. And Venus is the exalted ruler of Pisces. So exaltation kind of indicates that we can achieve loads of goodies with it when we use it in the right way. So this is the reason why I picked Venus-Jupiter square, so that you can make the most out of this lunation. No, I did make a video about the full moon in the sign of Virgo, which is going to be happening on 5 degree of Virgo to 5 degree of Pisces. So I'm not going to be talking about this in detail. I recommend revisiting that video there. And I also will be breaking it down for the 12 signs for my YouTube members who have signed up. But this full moon is actually making quite a tight T-square with Pallas Athene. So of course we've got Mercury, Saturn, and the Sun. So what is Saturn? Saturn is very much about achieving something. And it's in the sign of Pisces, so achieving our dreams. So this is a little bit of a goal-orientated full moon, let's put it that way. But it comes with loads of maturity, having to take responsibility, and we need to see things clearly because we've got this Saturn and Mercury conjunction going on as well at the same time. This is about time management as well as using our time efficiently. Now, of course, with Saturn, we're going to have to overcome some of the obstacles as well, what we've got. But if you work on that, I feel like this Jupiter and Venus square can give you the help there. Now, of course, we've got Mercury in the picture as well. And Mercury is about learning and the ability to communicate about something. So maybe we have to communicate about our feelings as well as our limitations. So it might be the aspect of asking for help when it's needed, but also it's the ability to learn about your own inhibitions also. Of course, Mercury is in the sign of Pisces. It's a little bit of a challenge. So often we need to feel things intuitively as well, and it makes it difficult to communicate about our feelings. But we've got Pallas Athene here, and she is the warrior princess archetype in our chart. So this is telling us to come up with a strategy. It is telling us to be assertive, to have a battle plan, to have a step-by-step guide how we're going to go about it. If needed, we need to negotiate with others and we need to use loads of diplomacy. And I feel like this is something that Moon in Virgo also resonates with, because Virgo is all about coming up with a plan as well at the same time. So the Venus and the Jupiter square helps you here. Now, as I said, Jupiter is the magnifying glass. So it magnifies anything to do with our relationships, our finances, but it also spotlights our creativity as well. So this square could talk to you about creative problem solution as well. Maybe it's about the ability to spot your artistic talents. Maybe it's discovering your money talents as well. Or at least this full moon is trying to highlight your own money problems, making you aware that you have got spending habits issues. And because the full moon is pretty much talking to us about a release, a healing, it happens on the healing axis. There is something to heal around your money and relationship topics. So this is quite an exciting one. But the other thing I would like to mention here, though, is that we've got the Mars square Jupiter going on as well. And I'm just going to mention a couple of words about that, which is going to be exact, by the way, on the 27th of February. And Mars is the planet of action. So this is telling us to push through. This is telling us to become an entrepreneur. This is the archetype of a warrior. It tells you that you're going to have to roll up your sleeves. You're going to have to take care of things. You don't need to be relying on others. This is actually an invitation to act on your own desire. Now, because Venus is in conjunction still to Mars, and the exact conjunction is happening on the 22nd of February, it makes us more outgoing. It might make us more engaging as well. Mars is actually prompting us to connect with our friends or with our supporters. It's kind of like with Mars and Venus, let's make a move. Let's be brave about it. So imagine that you have liked a guy or a girl for a very long time. Maybe it's time actually to share your feelings with them. And of course, Jupiter is right in there as well. So it's magnifying it. It's kind of giving you the confidence. But the Aquarius says, what if I'm going to get rejected? But Mars is telling you to make things happen. Initiate those contacts, initiate those relationships, especially if you feel that you are really passionate about something. Also, if you have got, because the other side of the coin is that you might have had some arguments with others, let's say a friend of yours, with Mars being in the sign of Aquarius, then Venus wants to smooth that somehow. So this could be finding a problem or finding the solution to the problem of how to make this argument somehow go away. Also, this could bring up the question because Mars has got the quality of cutting things out of our life. So, do I want to carry on being in this relationship or not? So, which one are you going to be choosing? And Jupiter might be very optimistic here, and then it says, you know what, we can build this up, Taurus. We can go back to the basics and we can restart the whole thing. So, but on top of that, I think it's also telling you to get clear on your desires, on your goals, look at what really inspires you. Also, this is telling you that maybe someone has made their decision, and with Jupiter, you're going to have to respect their decision and then just go. So I feel like with Mars and Venus conjunction, there is always an element of a start as well as a finish point as well. I mean, at the end of the day, Mars rules Scorpio. So that's the sign of start and finish in a way. However, Venus and Jupiter can make you fortunate, can make you quite creative, can make you quite fun to be around as well. So even though it's a square, I feel like this is not necessarily a major square. Venus is the dispositor of Jupiter, so you're going to have to focus on that Venus and Mars conjunction quite a lot. But watch out for how optimistic you are, how generous you are, because it can get you into trouble as well. Obviously, it's easier to make a mistake, for example, or you feel like that, you know what, this connection is so great. I made a really good friend, and it turns out they are not as good as you kind of thought. Also, often Jupiter and Venus can bring some drama into our life as well, even though Venus is not in the sign of Leo, but it is in the opposite sign from Leo. So it brings in those type of things. But if you want to do something for fun, Venus in Aquarius, you know what, you need to be attending a comedy show, a stand-up, or or just maybe a bit of a clubbing, for example. These are really good to let the tension out of the system. Also, Venus, Jupiter, both in fixed signs, both are about indulgence. Sometimes this makes us easy going and makes us a little bit lazy as well. So we might be getting bored with with the work we do, and then we just want to be going away, and then we are very optimistic about it, and we're going to be able to find a new job immediately. Also, this could talk to you about, of course, the lack of self-discipline. And you might not be able to focus, you might not be able to get things done. Maybe you are overeating with this as well, or having an extra couple of glasses of wine when you usually only have got one, and so forth. So watch out for your self-esteem, because it's very possible that we want to make it better at any costs. So guys, this would be my interpretation of on this upcoming square. But one more thing I would like to mention is that it's very easy to overstretch when it comes to your money as well. So kind of like, oh, you know what, I'm not going to pay the bills today because it's okay. You know what, I'm going to be manifesting that I'm going to be somehow become a magnet. And then you have to end up, for example, selling something, or asking for a bit of a, a helping hand from a friend of yours, and so forth, because there is that flashy side to Venus and Jupiter as well. Oh yeah, let me show to the world that I can kind of do it. Yeah, and also you might become very generous towards yourself as well. So it can even lead to a shopping spree, for example. Well, I think that's what I would like to mention today with this aspect. So good luck, and I'm looking forward to meeting you on my solar return workshop. Have a good one and see you soon. Bye-bye.